Professionalism. Today I had a completely different video for you all. However, I was sent this article and I decided to talk about it because it's very relevant. So as you already know, we're living in the middle of a pandemic. And living in the midst of a pandemic has changed the way that we do everything, from the way that we go shopping, that we go to work, do school, how we interact with people. I mean, it has really changed everything that we knew to be normal. And as a result of that, people are wondering, how long will this last? And not only how long will it last, but what is our new normal for the current moment? And as we look at what the new normal may be for the current moment, people are questioning, what will employment look like? What will school look like? What will us being able to go out and shop look like? And today we're going to specifically talk about what will it look like in fall of 2020 for those who are considering to go to college or return to college. So this article discusses, should students defer college or change their college plans for fall of 2020? Now, a lot of people have asked me this in regards to, should I go to college? Should I change my plans? Especially those who are looking for graduate programs. What I'm going to suggest, which I already talked about in a previous video, is for you to think about what options do you have if you decide not to go to school. So think about those repercussions, and not necessarily those repercussions being bad, but think about it in a way how it will set you up for your future. Anytime that you do anything, you should always think about how it will set you up for your future. So in this article, it specifically talks about how students who are low income, students who might not be able to afford going to college, are thinking about some other options. And we all know those options probably will be, well, I'm going to stop and get a job. Well, I'm going to just wait everything out for a gap year and see how things progress. I'm not saying that you should, not go to school and get a job, or that you should not take a gap year, but think about the quality of that job during that gap year, or think about, will you be able to get the quote-unquote normal experience that you would be able to during a gap year. So in my previous video, I talked about what a gap year is and how people normally would use a gap year. However, during COVID-19, if you decide not to go to school and to defer a year, or if you decide that you want to take a gap year and travel, think about how that will look. Right now, you might be able to get a plane ticket for, let's say, $40 to go somewhere that's super expensive, but the quality of that experience when you get there might be little to none because things might be closed. You might not be able to do a lot of the things that you would normally be able to do. So let's also look at the jobs. So if you were to get a job, think about what type of job you would be able to get. Also, even though you would be making money, would you have the opportunity for advancement when things open back up? Another thing I want you to think about is also that you will be applying for a job against somebody else who has a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctoral degree. Now, this is not a bad thing. However, your competition is going to be more stiff. And sometimes these individuals might not have a bachelor's or a master's or a doctoral degree. These people might just simply have more experience than you. And so you might be going for an entry-level position, but because somebody else was furloughed or they were laid off, then they might be going for that entry-level position so they can make ends meet until something else comes up. And so 9 times out of 10, somebody might say, well, they have the experience, we want to train them, that's less money for us to invest in that particular employee, let's go ahead and get them in. I'm not saying this is normal, but you might see this a little bit more often as people begin to look at the economic impact of COVID-19. Now, also, if you are saying that, hey, I want to take a gap year, I want to work, but I do plan to go back to school in spring of 2021 or fall of 2021, you need to think about this. Will you have the same financial aid package? Now, if your parents can write you a check to say, hey, here's the full amount for your tuition, room and board, etc., good for you. However, If you are going to be on student loans or any type of grant, scholarship, or financial assistance, you need to figure out before you decide to take that gap year how that's going to impact you. What I mean is that especially if you have need-based assistance, it varies year by year. So this year you might have a really good financial aid package, and then next year it might waver because the scholarship they offered you the year before, it might not be available. Or you might have more people the following year that might have a lot of need just like you. So you don't want to sit here and count yourself out simply because it's like, well, I won't be able to go and pledge, or I won't be able to go to this football game, or I won't be able to X, Y, and Z in regards to extracurricular. But if you start school now, and when things do get better, you'll already be in the system, you'll already have your financial aid, you'll already be on your way to graduating from a four-year institution, rather than like, hey, I'm gonna go work, I'm going to take a gap year, I'm trying to figure all this out. Now, when I say in regards to all of this is not for you to just take it and run with it. This is for you to consider, because research is constantly being done on how this pandemic will impact everything that we knew to be normal. And what I would advise for you all who are thinking of a gap year, whether it's just to work or for you to change your college plans, before you make anything final, go talk to your financial aid advisor at that particular college. Go talk to your admissions counselor. Those will be your best resources simply because they will know what your financial aid package will look like most likely in 2021. They will know if certain scholarships can be held for you, if certain financial aid can be held for you, and they will tell you which ones cannot. And if you see that certain financial aid package materials cannot be held for you simply because it's by year, case by case basis, then you might have a better shot with going to school now, taking those online classes, if they offer face-to-face, if you feel comfortable doing that, and just kind of sitting out for those extracurricular just for one school year. Hopefully things will get better, but the goal is for you to go there and get an education. And so those would be my suggestions. Go to your financial aid counselor, go to your admissions counselor, talk to them, figure out what is what before you make that decision. Because if you plan to come back the following spring or fall and you don't have financial aid that you need, then it sets you back, because now you're trying to not only compete against new students who are coming in, but you're also trying to compete against people who took a gap year, and not only took a gap year, but those who are transferring in. So you become a part of this huge cluster of people when you right now are in a position to say, hey, I'm in the college, I've received my acceptance letter, I have a financial aid package, how can you help me? And trust me, these colleges and universities, they do want to help you right now. Not only because of a revenue point, but also because they understand that they have a level of academic excellence that they need to stand for, and they want to help you. They want to help you as much as possible. So use that to your advantage. Now, with all of this being said, take your time, make a decision. Don't do anything hastily, but definitely think twice before you decide to take a gap year, or before you decide to just go out and get a job, because the quality of that gap year, it might not be what you think it will be, and the quality of that job will probably just help you make ends meet with your family if they're in that position. But thinking for the long run, I think that if they do virtual, you might be able to do a job and go to school virtually. That's an option that you could possibly do. However, the decision is completely up to you. And just to throw this tidbit in there as well, because I have been seeing a lot of this online, they're saying, hey, go to a 2-year school really quick, and then once things get back to normal, transfer in. You have to be careful with that sometimes, because some schools, they do not take your 2-year credits sometimes. Sometimes schools want you to go to that school, take those classes because they know the quality of those classes. And so they might allow you to transfer some of those classes in. However, sometimes they don't count for what they say they will count. So making sure that the school that you're going to, if you decide to go to a tech school and if you decide to transfer into a 4-year, making sure they have some type of relationship where if you take your English and math there, it will transfer in as English and math that counts towards your degree. I have seen many cases where students will transfer in with a math and an English and it counts as an elective. And I saw this as an undergrad and I've seen this as an adult as well. So this is something that you definitely want to check into. Also, just going back to your financial aid package really quickly. So making sure if you decide to take a math and an English at a 2-year college that you can afford to do it there, but also understand the ramifications of coming in as a transfer student. Many times, if you take classes at another college and you try to transfer into another institution, they will consider you to be a transfer student. So understanding what that will look like for you on a financial scale. And I will tell you right now, from my point of view, it's better to come into an institution with a fresh slate as a student who is seen as a first-year student rather than somebody who's a transfer. Not saying anything is wrong with transferring, but I've seen cases where things can get kind of murky and messy with the transfer process. And I just want to go ahead and say this in case anybody has transferred and listened to this video. Sometimes we're at places where we have to transfer. Sometimes the school is not for us. Sometimes we know it's a better fit somewhere else. I completely understand that, but I'm saying if you are a student who is fresh out of high school, who is looking to go to college, I would say go ahead to wherever you're going to, that 4-year institution, especially if you can stay at home and they're offering virtual classes, go there first. Then once they start to add some other things back in to the fold, such as Greek life, football games, basketball games, etc., then go out and enjoy those. So this is my little 2 cents and my rant on should you defer or change your college plans for fall of 2020. Like, share, subscribe, and let's have a conversation below.